Hello my lovelies, and welcome to day 25 of Vlogust. It's a beautiful day, so I'm just touring the neighborhood. I'll cut in some pictures of the flowers they were grown at the farm. And this is a nearby church. It just has a very serene background. So I thought I would film here because it's just pretty. And I have no idea what we're making for dinner today. We're gonna go to the farm and then figure out what we're gonna do. So we're gonna choose our vegetables first and then figure out what we're gonna make for lunch and for dinner. So come along for the day, I think it'll be fun. Today we mix up some tuna salad. It's tuna in oil with just a little bit of mayonnaise, and we bought this bread at the Italian bakery, and it's kind of big, so we cut it in half and we're making just sort of a half sandwich because it's kind of later in the afternoon now and I don't want to ruin dinner. But I wanted to point out that this little cherry pepper slice is a preview of what's going to happen for dinner. Dun 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 dun. And we were at the farm, and I'm just arranging them in this vase that I have. Look at this one, isn't it so pretty? Look at the colors. Oh boy, we're starting to get into fall, aren't we? Because these are sort of transitional flowers, I would say. But God, they're gorgeous. I just love having fresh flowers in the house. I'm warming up some regular olive oil in my La Crusette pan. So it's regular olive oil, it's not extra virgin, it's better for cooking. Here I've chopped up some mushrooms and some Vidalia onion. Vidalia is a little bit of a sweeter onion. It's good for cooking with chicken or with fish and things like that. Today we're making chicken Paisano. Here I have some sliced boneless chicken, and I have a little bit of flour on a plate. I'm going to just tap the chicken into the flour a little bit so that it starts to make a thicker sauce when it's cooking. All the chicken over now. I've added the Vidalia onion, and I'm going to put the cover on to let everything kind of get going. So everything in this pan is coming along nicely. I'm going to deglaze it with a little bit of white wine. And make sure I get all the stuff off the bottom here. I'm going to let this go for a couple minutes because I want this onion to get a little softer. If you don't want to use wine at this point, you could put in a little broth or just water. Everything is getting nice and soft now, so I cut up some tomatoes. This is two different kinds of heirloom tomatoes, and I kind of just cut them in chunks. And I'm adding all the mushrooms that I sliced as well. So the mushrooms and the tomatoes, combined with everything else, is what makes the sauce. It's just the natural juices. At this point, I'm adding some salt to help these vegetables release their water. I'm going to put the lid on and just let it go for a few minutes. Just checking on the state of everything, how everything's getting soft, and I've added some Cento Italian seasoning, because I pretty much add that to everything. The star of this dish are these sliced hot cherry peppers. These were in oil, so I've been rinsing them to try to get some of the oil off and some of the vinegar flavor. But these are going to go in at the very end, and they add a nice hotness to the dish. And a lot of flavor. And now I'm adding the hot peppers. also have some water boiling, and we're making a side of ravioli. I used to make this with rigatoni. That's the way that I learned how to make it. I got it in a restaurant. But I've since added cheese ravioli to it, and when you break them open and the cheese joins in with the juice from the meats and the vegetables, it's really nice. You want to put these in at the very end because they only take about 3 minutes. If you end up with not a lot of juice, you can always add some of the pasta water. I'm going to add a little pasta water anyway, even though this looks juicy, just because it gives it a nice silkiness. Joining me today. I hope you enjoyed tonight's dinner. You can make that all kinds of ways. I took my inspiration from a meal I had in a restaurant a couple years ago, and it was veal Paisano. So I've made it with veal, but I try to limit the amount of red meat that I eat, and veal is really expensive right now too. And I also happen to have a lot of chicken in the house, so I make it a lot with chicken. But I've also made it with swordfish, and I've cut it into cubes, and I think it would probably work well with something like shrimp as well. So once you get the basic recipe down, just try to experiment, and you can put anything you want in. You can probably even just leave out the meat or the fish altogether, and it would make a really interesting vegetable sauce that goes over top of pasta. So that's it for today. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you in 2 days. Bye.